Howdy, howdy, howdy. It's a Saturday night as I'm sitting here making this video. And I've got a beer to try here that I can tell you I have had it before last year and I couldn't stand it. In fact, I didn't even finish the one beer and brought the rest of it back to the store. That's how bad it was. But there's a story behind that. And I've got a magic trick. I've got a magic trick to try out with you. Here, yes, you never know what I'm going to do on this. Try to spice up my channel. Really, I just want to have a cold beer and someone to talk to, even if it's one-sided, which is the way I prefer it, because I'm a narcissist. I'm joking about that, honestly. I'd much prefer you'd be sitting on the other side of the table here and me listening to you and all the blab you might have. I'm buying the beer. But that's not the way it is right now, so I've got Sierra Nevada's Harvest, what do they call it? Sierra Nevada's Harvest, it's Northern Hemisphere Harvest. Sierra Nevada's Northern Hemisphere Harvest. And I'm making a lot of word bloopers lately. Yeah, I started wondering if I'm like, my mind's starting to slip. So I'm making a lot of bloopers and just absent-minded things. I could blame it on COVID. I got a year and a half ago, a bad case of it. Kind of left me with brain fog. Or I could blame it on old age. You know, I took some tests, IQ test and memory test and a lot of this stuff online. And I came out, like I always do, a little above average. Never average, always a little bit above average. You know, a few years ago, I came out way above average, so. A genius. So as I was saying, this is Sierra Nevada. They're a brewer out of California, Chico, California. And they're known to make some very good ales and IPAs, American Pale Ales. Very good. They don't make bad beer. But I bought this beer. Let me tell you a little bit about it first, a little bit. Sierra Nevada's Harvest, Northern Hemisphere Harvest. It's wet hopped, and that's the thing with this. It's wet hopped, meaning that they go up when it's harvest time, they drive up to Oregon, I think where their hop yards are, where they buy their hops. They're in Chico, California. I think that might be in Northern California, I'm not sure. But they get a lot of hops and they rush it down to the brewery within 24 hours of picking it, and they throw it into the beer, green, not dried. Because usually when you add hops to beer, it's dried, pelletized, dried. They throw the hops right in, green. And that supposedly gives it a unique hops taste, which you would think it would, and aroma. Well, last year I found this beer in Cortland at the Beer Depot, name of the beer store. And I'm like, wow, a new beer, Northern Hemisphere, wet hopped ale. It sounded great. I don't know who's thinking of me, but they're going to have to wait. I got lots of friends online. Nobody local, though. Not anymore. Well, I brought the beer home, opened it up, very enthusiastically. I think I made a video out of it. I never posted it. Because I took one drink out of that beer, and it was flat, and it was rancid. And it was just plain awful. I poured that bottle out. I brought the other 5 bottles back and demanded a refund. Because come to find out, the beer was 3 years old in bottles. And sunlight will work on hops and make it rancid. Which some people, you know, in a mild form, it gives it a skunky smell, which, you know, a lot of European import beers that come in a bottle have a skunky smell to them. And some people like that. My old girlfriend Jen, she liked that. She liked St. Pauli's Girl on, and she liked it because it was kind of skunky, not overly so. Well, that beer was just, it was undrinkable. Lo and behold, I found at D&L truck stop the other day this beer, Sierra Nevada Harvest in cans. Looked at the date. It was made last year, the last 2025. This is March of 2026 as I'm sitting here right now spewing out this Beerblab, which means that they harvested the hops in August or September. So the beer's probably, they probably took a month or maybe a month and a half to brew it, ferment it. So the beer's 5 or 6 months in the can, somewhere around there. And being in the can, it's not going to get any sunlight. So hopefully it should be all right. Now I want to talk a little bit on this Beerblab after my magic trick attempt about some strange, like, kind of psychic or supernatural events around the lead singer of Lynyrd Skynyrd, Ronnie Van Zant, around his death. But they all got killed on a plane crash in 1975. Not all of them, 3 of them. Most of the band survived, actually. Ronnie Van Zant was killed, and he was the leader of the band. It was his band, Lynyrd Skynyrd. Steve Gaines, the guitarist that they just picked up, a great guitarist. Guy was really excited about being in the band. It was a dream come true. He got killed, and his sister, I forgot her first name, Gaines, she sang backup vocals, and she was also killed, along with her brother. The 2 pilots were killed as well. Their plane ran out of gas, flying somewhere down south. They were going to a show, a concert they had to put on. But there are some events around that are kind of paranormal, a little bit. I don't know if you'd call it paranormal, but I just wanted to mention it in a couple things. Just something I like to read up on people's lives. If I like somebody, I'm interested in their lives, in their life, so. All right, to the beer, because I'm thirsty. And then the magic trick. We'll see if it works. Oh. I paid $14.99 or $15 for this 6-pack. Comes out to $2.50 a can, which is reasonable on today's market. It'd be nice if it was a little cheaper, but 6 of them. I gotta be honest, I took one out, got one really cold. The others are cold, but this one, I opened this up and got this one cold, really cold. Oh well. That's the can. This is what the website says about it. All right. It smells like IPA. It smells like hops, citrus. I'm not getting a whole lot of smell, but I think that's maybe my sniffer. At least. A bit of an orange beer, looks like it's going to be. Copper, I don't know what you call it, copper orange. Nice head on it. Yeah, nice color. About what I expected. Doesn't smell rancid or skunky, so far so good. Taste. Time to taste it. I like passing the light through it for effect. Ooh. medium bodied, well carbonated, bitter, hoppy. You definitely taste the hops in this. Fairly easy to drink if you're a beer drinker like me. If you're not, maybe it wouldn't be. You know, it's got a hops bitterness that lingers on the back of the throat and the tongue. I used to grow hops, which grows prolifically. Words I don't use often. Here in upstate New York. It used to be a cash crop, but it's very susceptible to blight and pests. So it's risky, but I had great success growing hops, and oh, it's good. Refreshing. It tastes the bitterness. It's different. I can taste the fresh hops in it, because when I grew hops, I'd pick a hops cone every now and then. And they got the lupulines, they call it. It's actually a little oily glands that has the hops resin in it, the stuff that makes the beer taste bitter and smell like citrusy. Depends upon what hops you use and how much and how you use it. It tastes like, it reminds me of eating fresh hops, which I used to do. I used to pick the hops cones and every now and then just eat one. It's not dangerous or anything. Supposed to be good for you in ways. Yeah, that's what it tastes like. It tastes like fresh hops. Which is precisely what they were trying to do. This reminds me of their Celebration Ale that I like a lot and have liked for years, that comes out around Christmas, New Year's celebration. But it got that wet hopped taste from throwing all these green hops, freshly picked, right into beer. And you can taste it in this. It's good. It's very, very good. Very good. All right, my magic trick. Either I'm going to do a magic trick here, or I'm going to prove that I'm stupid enough to believe this and try it. It's nothing fancy. I saw a video of this. Here's the video. It's very short. And I said, I'm going to try this. So here we are. Now I've got some AA batteries here. And they're charged. I know they are. I've got a beer cap, Guinness, from my Guinness that I had on St. Patty's. And I've got some rubber bands. So let's see what happens. I'll take off the ring. This. I'm gonna feel like a fool just trying this, believing it. I don't think it's gonna work. I have not done this. Let's see if it works. It looked easy enough, didn't it? I got the batteries orientated the right way, like on the video. Do you think it's going to work? I don't think it's going to work. Maybe I should have a little more faith. I feel like a fool just trying this. All right, so here goes. I'm an idiot.
I'm an idiot. Joke's on me, right? Oh my God, I can't believe I'm dumb enough to even have believed this. Well, I didn't think it would be any harm trying. I did not. I told you I didn't think it was going to work, but I don't know. Maybe I got to aim it at it. Maybe it's not aimed at it. Why's it got to be? You know what? Here we go. This is stupid. See, that's why I should have known it wouldn't work. Because the guy's doing it in his hand. It's part of his gimmick. Why can't I just do this? Folks, do not believe everything you see on the internet. Boy, am I dumb. I'm getting to hate the internet. Well, there's the magic trick. Yeah. Fooled me. So Ronnie Van Zant on Leonard Skinner. I never thought he was a good singer, but it was his band. You know, they all met in high school. Gainesville, Florida, I believe. Back in the 60s. And Ronnie Van Zant was a few years older than the people in the guitar, the rest of the band. Other than Ed King, he's a kind of a chubby guy. He was in the band for a while, but he was from California. He wasn't a homie like the rest of the band. They all went to school together in a small town. Garage band. Started out garage, playing small bars, and they did Freebird, and that was their breakaway hit jam song. It launched them. I don't think they were ruined by fame or money. They didn't have enough time. But here's the thing. Which I read up on him, and they were all Christian. They all considered themselves Christian, by the way. And I saw something on a video of him. And, you know, this is old. This is like 50 years old or more. So their hair looks funny. It's the funny, odd clothing styles of the 70s, which were just outlandish. Kind of I dressed usually, back then I was a black t-shirt and jeans kind of guy. Or something like this even. I dressed the same that I did back then. Funny, you could still get away with it. You could dress like people dressed 50 years ago and nobody would notice it for the most part. But I saw this video couple weeks ago actually, and I noticed Ronnie Van Zant doing something before he went out to sing Freebird. And here's just a short clip of that. And I want you to notice that he crosses himself quite clearly. Crosses himself before he goes out to sing. Which confirmed to me that the man believed in God. He said he did. And throughout some of their songs, you get past the long hair and the loud guitars and the freaky old clothes and everything, a lot of their songs really, none of them sing about sin that I can think of. Some of them reference to God quite a bit and living a good life. I'm not saying these people were saints, they weren't. But they were just good old boys. I always thought Ronnie Van Zant looked like a barroom brawler, and he was. He was a whiskey drinker. They were all in their 20s. I mean, they hadn't really evolved yet, you know. But he was a whiskey drinker and a brawler, and known to fight. And that's how people were in the South back then, I can tell you, because I'm originally from the South, and I used to have a Southern accent, but it's gone. But I used to get in a lot. I used to fight. I never went out bullying people, but
That's what we did before video games. That's what people did. Young guys did. We fought each other. And, so here's that video. Watch. He crosses himself here, and that was kind of important to me. I'm like, yes, he's believed in Christ. It means he's part of the holy souls. You know, I'm pretty sure he probably, you know, if you believe in Christ, accept Christ, you're part of the family. And I don't think he was perfect, but definitely somebody to pray for. He's part of the family. He's one of the holy souls, as was Gary Rossington. I read up on him too, and he wore a cross. So did a lot of them, and they wore a cross because they had a relationship with Jesus Christ. It wasn't like costume accessories like some people, you know. I think of the old singer Madonna, always wore a cross, and she was about the most godless woman that one ever graced the stage of song. So there's the video of him crossing himself. Okay, he's the guy in the black t-shirt there with the black headband, Ronnie Van Zant. That's Alan Collins on the guitar with the black t-shirt. But Ronnie Van Zant's got the black headband on. All right. The other odd things about it, here's the thing. I read this quite a bit. As a child, he used to tell his father that he only had 30 years to live here. He'd tell his father, and I heard his father talking about him in an old video, which I don't have. And he said that Ronnie, when he was a boy, used to tell him, Daddy, here, I've got it written down, 30 is my limit. That Ronnie Van Zant, there's more to the man than meet the eye. Where you just see looks like a good old boy brawler kind of dude, you know, from the olden days. But he considered himself a clairvoyant, a psychic, and a Christian too. He considered himself what he called a blue-collar Southern Christian. And Ronnie Van Zant, this is my notes. Ronnie Van Zant frequently told his father, Lacey, Daddy, I'll never be 30 years old. And when his father asked him why he was talking like that, Ronnie simply replied, Daddy, that's my limit. And that's what he used to tell him. That he had, before he came to Earth, he was told that he was only allowed 30 years here. That's what I read that somewhere. I don't have it in front of me. That he was told before he came here, you only have 30 years here. So, and he used to tell his band members that he was going to die before he turned 30. In fact, I read that he told them that so many times they got sick of hearing it, and they believed it. He believed it. He told them, as a matter of fact, I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to live to see 30. I've only, you know, he used to tell them all that. And concerning the plane crash, a number of them had premonitions about it. Several members of the Lynyrd Skynyrd band reportedly had premonitions before the 1977 crash. Ronnie Van Zant frequently told friends and bandmates he would not live to see 30, a prediction that came true. Cassie Gaines initially refused to board the plane, citing a bad feeling and a fear that it was going to go down, and she only agreed to fly after being persuaded by the band. Alan Collins. His wife reported that he had a reoccurring nightmare about a plane crash shortly before the tour began. JoJo Billingsley, the backup singer who was not on the flight,
claimed she had a vivid dream of a plane falling from the sky just days before the accident. And they went up. Nobody wanted to get on the plane. Ronnie Van Zant told them, let's go. We all fly together or we die together. That's what he told them. Get on the plane. He was the boss. He was the boss of that band. I mean, there wouldn't have been Leonard Skinner without him. He formed the band, and he made sure people made the band practices, and he really was the leader of that band, not just a singer. He also wrote a lot of the songs. Well, they went up on the plane, flying. It was a 2-engine prop-driven old, like a DC-3, but it wasn't. It was an old prop plane, passenger plane. And the pilots forgot to check the fuel. The fuel gauge didn't work in it. They actually would go out and take a dipstick to check the fuel level, and they didn't do that. Well, the plane ran out of fuel. The plane went down and crashed somewhere, I don't know, was it North Carolina? I don't know where it crashed, somewhere down south. Ronnie Van Zant he was sleeping on the floor. He had a rough night the night before, probably drinking. They got him up and got him into a chair right before a crash, into a seat, and the last thing he did, he was shaking hands with the drummer who was next to him. Ronnie Van Zant wasn't buckled in. And the plane crashed. There was no fuel in it, so there was no fire. But the 2 pilots were killed. Ronnie Van Zant was killed. Cassie Gaines, who didn't want to get on the plane because she had a bad feeling about it, she was killed, and her brother Steve Gaines was killed, one of the guitarists. And I even read the coroner's report, because Ronnie Van Zant was thrown from the wreckage and he hit a tree. His body hit a tree, and they said he wasn't mangled. They said it looked like he was sleeping. He looked very peaceful. They couldn't find any damage on him or any injuries, but he had a bruise on his temple. And apparently he hit something with his temple, and the coroner's report said there's no doubt about it. He died instantly. He probably didn't even know it. He died so quick from that hit right there. So I'm thinking, man, I thought the other day, what a blessed life. 30 years, got to be a rock star and all that, and have his fun, make his mark in the world. It sounds like he had a pretty good childhood, a good upbringing, Christian upbringing, old school, which was good. Believe it or not, I know it was good. Because we got out as kids and played in the creek or went fishing and had a real life away from, electronic crap that we got now. The internet and such, games and everything. And when he died, and he was a Christian, he believed in Christ. And I showed you the video of him crossing himself. And when he died instantly, probably pretty much painlessly. He didn't even know the plane was crashing, really. From what understanding was, he didn't really have time to take it in. They got him up off the floor and were trying to get him strapped into a chair because he was crashed out in the lane, in the center aisle, laying on the floor, from what I read, trying to get a little sleep. They were going to do a show. I thought, man, what a blessed life. I mean, imagine that. Now, I'm not saying I believe that we exist before we come here, but some may say we do or we don't. But apparently Ronnie Van Zant did. I gather maybe he didn't, but that's the way I read into it. That he was told he only had 30 years here. Maybe he got that after he was born. I'm not sure if it was before. I'm not sure where he got it, but he said that he was told that he was only allowed 30 years was his limit here. And he was a little over 2 months from his 30th birthday when he died. Just like he said. Coincidence? Been telling people that since he was a child, right on up to the year he died. I'm not going to live to see 30. And he believed that he was going to die somehow during his being in the band. And that's just what happened. He wasn't dying, he didn't OD on heroin or any of that stuff, He had a whiskey problem. Like, he reminds me of my younger brother who passed away last year. You know, when he was younger, he used to drink whiskey because some of his idols, they were hard drinkers. But, you know, Ronnie Van, and my brother got out of that, completely out of it. He didn't let it take him down. It was like a fad he went through in his early 20s, drinking whiskey, Jack Daniels and stuff. And I think Ronnie Van Zant, it was just a fad because from what I read, he was getting it under control because he could be a real asshole, flaming asshole when he drank with some of his band members. He was a brawling kind of guy. He didn't want to mess with him, argue with him when he was drinking. And when he wasn't drinking, he would apologize for the bad night before and said he was the nicest guy on earth, but whiskey didn't help him out any. But that really didn't have anything to do with this. Just reading up on him. He was married. Most of them were married. They weren't out whoring around, doing drugs. You know, they drank and they had their fun. They had their wives. Good, some good old boys. They actually remind me of people I would have known, you know, or hung out with. All of them. They're, you know, I'm not quite as old as they were, but I'm not much younger than they were. I'm about maybe 10, 12, 15 years younger than them, if that. 10 years younger than Gary Rossington, who died the same day Jen did. I made a video about that. And I had deep premonitions about Gary Rossington, their guitarist. And Jen, I just felt there was some connection between the two of them in some kind of weird way, and very strongly so. And they both died suddenly the same day, March 5th, 2023, of the same thing, heart failure. Same day, same thing. So I wanted to try that stupid magic trick, and the trick was on me for believing it. And then I felt like talking about Ronnie Van Zant, who I can't say I was ever a huge fan of his singing. But when I think about it, the songs wouldn't have been the same if someone else covered them. They wouldn't have been. It was his personality behind it. And they were his songs, quite a bit of them. Well, this beer is very good. I think it's very good. It tastes like their Celebration Ale, but wet hopped. The wet hop gives it a really different kind of hop characteristic. Taste-wise, I don't smell it, but I never smell much of anything with these candles going on. I'm going to try something different with the candles next time, if there's a next time. Well, that's about it. I'm going to go to we have one bar in this little town. It's right up the street from me. I could walk to it. I went there last night. God, they don't even have good beer. And they know me there. A lot of them know me. The barmaid knows me, Mel. Family lives right next door to me. And I usually drink Guinness or Stout, Edmonds Fitzgerald. If they don't have that, they usually have an IPA on draft. I've never gotten drunk there. I don't drink that much there. I'll sit there and nurse a couple of beers and that's it. I walk in, she says, "What's it going to be, Tim?" And I said, "You have any Guinness?" "Nope." I said, "How about the porter? Do you have any porter?" "Nope." "Well," I said, "do you have any IPAs on draft or in the bottle or can?" "Nope, they don't have any of those either." And they don't. I'm like, I said, "I pass." I said, "Have a good night." I said, "I've got better beer at home." I was a little miffed. I do have better beer at home. I mean, save my money. This beer's a little pricey there too, for some reason.
Well, I'll go there and try to upload this video, maybe. It would take all day here at home. They have a very strong Wi-Fi connection. All right, take care. God bless each of you. Oh, we got to slam the beer. Glug, 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 glug. Oh yeah, this is good beer. I recommend it wholeheartedly.